Software as a service, or SaaS, has transformed business operations, providing convenience, scalability, and efficiency through cloud collaboration. However, the shift to online software and data introduces some security challenges, particularly with the rising threat of ransomware. Unlike traditional attacks on devices, ransomware increasingly targets SaaS, with a notable 300% increase, yes, 300% increase in attacks between March and May of 2023. According to a 2022 study by Odaseva, 51% of ransomware attacks focus on SaaS today. So today I'm going to explore the nature of SaaS ransomware, its associated risks, and some essential strategies for defense. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Michael Kinnett, CEO and founder of Eternal Networks. Every Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific time, I go live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn to discuss the latest in tech and cyberspace news and to share some helpful tips and tricks that might help you in your business. At the end of our live session, I'll also be answering any questions from the audience. So if you've got any, save them up for the end, send them in the middle, whatever, right? I'll make sure to have time at the end to answer any questions that you've got. So first, the news. If you're like me, I loved, as a kid, playing with Lego. I grew up with Lego sets, and now my kids love Lego. In fact, frequently, first thing we hear in the morning is kids playing in the playroom with their Lego and building their creations. Lego is a beloved toy to millions of children around the world. And they were also a victim recently to a cyber attack. Their site, Bricklink, which is owned by Lego, allows users to buy, sell, and trade Lego parts, sets, and minifigures. And they recently had a cyber attack on the site and are urging any users of the site to change their passwords. The threat actor gained access to some seller accounts and were selling items at massive discounts, expensive items like large sets, and then fraudulently accepting payments from buyers. Only a handful of accounts were affected, but Lego is urging all users to change their passwords as soon as possible to ensure that their accounts are protected. Also in the news, and this one's a little closer to home, a plastic surgery practice in Las Vegas was the victim of a cyber attack in February of this year. The threat actors, the hackers, gained access to the internal network of Las Vegas-based plastic surgery office Hankins and Sohn Plastic Surgery Associates. They infiltrated the entire medical records of the nearly 12,000 patients of the practice. The practice sent out a letter in March or April regarding the incident, notifying their patients of the online breach. Well, now they're back in the news. The FBI is involved in the incident as before and after photos of the patients, along with other sensitive information like social security numbers, have been posted online with a request for a ransom for them to be removed. As you can imagine, these are very sensitive photos, and many of the photos also include the patient's face, making them easily identifiable. Nearly 12 women have filed lawsuits claiming negligence in protecting their personal files against the practice. So definitely feel for any of those that were part of this, that were victims, any of these patients that now have very, very private, very personal information out on the web. So the practice, one of the local news stations reached out to them, others have as well. The practice has not issued any statements. The FBI, because it's an ongoing information, hasn't shared anything. So we don't really know how they got in or the full details of it. But we do know, right, they got in and they stole all the medical records of the around 12,000 patients. So definitely very, very serious, and feel for those that are part of that and on the victim side. Now, talking a little bit more about ransomware, right? So this medical practice and their patients are victims of one type of ransomware. What is SaaS ransomware, right? That's our topic for today. SaaS ransomware is also known as cloud ransomware. It's malicious code that's designed to target cloud-based applications and services. These include services like Google Workspace, Microsoft 365, and other cloud collaboration platforms like Dropbox, Box.net. There's a whole bunch of different ones out there. The attackers exploit vulnerabilities in these cloud-based systems, and then the ransomware encrypts the valuable data that is located there. It effectively locks users out of their own accounts and out of their own data. Cybercriminals hold the data hostage, and then they demand a ransom, often in the form of cryptocurrencies. The ransom is in exchange for the decryption key so that the user can then gain access to their data. Some of the risks of SaaS ransomware obviously is data loss, right? That's the most immediate risk, is the loss of the company's critical data. You lose access to your cloud-based applications and files, which can cause productivity also to grind to a halt. More long-term is the reputational damage, right? A successful SaaS ransomware attack can tarnish your organization's reputation. Customers and partners may lose trust in your ability to safeguard their data. I would imagine that plastic surgery center is going to have a very hard time selling their services to any new patients that have heard about them in the news and what has affected them. Any type of attack can negatively impact your brand image, just as it did for this plastic surgery center. There's also financial impact, right? Paying the ransom is not guaranteed to result in data recovery, and it may actually encourage attackers to target you again, right? They may look at you as a soft target, knowing that they can get more out of you. It's unknown currently, but it's possible that the attack in February against this plastic surgery center was ransomware. They paid the ransom, they got access to the local files, and now months later, the threat actors are saying, well, hey, guess what? We have your data, and now we want another ransom. That's a very common practice with these criminals. Furthermore, right, the cost of downtime and recovery efforts can be substantial in these type of attacks. So how can you defend against these type of, SaaS ransomware and other types of ransomware, right? As the saying goes, prevention is better than cure. When it comes to SaaS ransomware, proactive defense is the key. And here's some effective strategies to protect your organization against these threats. First, you got to educate your team. Start by educating your employees about the risks of SaaS-based ransomware, how it spreads through phishing emails, malicious links, or breached accounts, and teach them to recognize suspicious activities and report any unusual incidents immediately. I know the federal government has made a big, see something, say something, right? If you go to TSA and other places, you may see signs, right? See something, say something. Teach your employees, if they see something that doesn't seem right, to say something and to report it. Next, enable multi-factor authentication, right? This, regardless of what systems you've got, multi-factor authentication, or MFA, is an essential layer of cybersecurity. It's not bulletproof, but it's so much better than operating without it. It requires users to provide an extra form of authentication to access their accounts. It's often a one-time code sent to their mobile devices, or a code that rotates through in an authentication app on their phone. Enabling MFA reduces the risk of unauthorized access, which happens even if a hacker compromises an account's login credentials. They can have the username and password, and without that MFA, they're not going to get in. The other tip is to perform regular backups. Frequently backing up your SaaS data is crucial. Frequently, as I'm talking with business owners about Microsoft 365, OneDrive, SharePoint, Google Drive, right? Any of these cloud-based apps, there's a common misconception that Microsoft, Google, Dropbox, right? That they are the backup, that they're backing up the data. They're not, right? So it's critical that you have some sort of backup strategy around your SaaS applications. If you read the end user license agreement for any of those vendors, you're going to see that they say, hey, we build in redundancy in this and this and this, but we're not liable for downtime. We're not liable for loss of data, for corrupted data, for brands. Like, they're not liable. They clearly state they expect you to protect your data and backing up your data while they're actually protecting the infrastructure that it's hosted on. Having your up-to-date backups ensures that you can restore your files in the event, one, of the system going down, or two, an attack like ransomware. You won't need to pay the attacker's ransom demands because you'll have that backup you can recover from. Also, it's important that you apply the principle of least privilege. Limit your user permissions to only the necessary functions. None of your users should be admins on these type of SaaS applications. Have a separate admin account, right? If one of your end users gets breached, if their credentials get compromised and they're an admin, that threat actor has a lot more access to do damage. So follow the principle of least privilege. Only give users the lowest privilege needed to do their job. In doing this, you reduce the potential damage an attacker can do if they do gain access to that one account. Another tip, keep your software up to date, right? Ensure that you have all software, your SaaS applications, your operating systems, et cetera, up to date. They should have the latest security patches installed. If Dropbox comes out with a new version, make sure you're updating to that new version, because most likely it's not adding a whole bunch of features. Most likely it's patching security vulnerabilities. So make sure that those are all up to date with those latest updates and patches, because they really do lock down that application and strengthen your defense. It's also critical that you deploy advanced security solutions. Right? Use third-party security solutions that specialize in protecting SaaS environments. These solutions can provide many different benefits. Some of them, right, real-time threat detection. Have something that's monitoring your files, your emails, right, whatever you're storing in that SaaS application to make sure that there's no threats to get introduced. Have policies around data loss prevention to know if massive amounts of data are being extracted, right? I would imagine that plastic surgery center wishes that they had data loss prevention in place to know that literally thousands of files were being sent off site, to notify them to be able to block it before the damage was completely done. There's many other security features that these SaaS environment monitoring tools provide that are definitely worth looking into and implementing. It's important that you track account activity. Put in place monitoring of user activity and network traffic, right? Suspicious behavior is an early indicator of an attack. One example, watch for several failed login attempts. Another is look for logins or failed logins from unusual locations. If you have a user that's logging in from Las Vegas or Reno or somewhere else in the United States, and then within minutes or even within hours, now they're logging in from overseas, there's probably an attempt to gain access to that account. And having monitoring in place to keep an eye on those things and to notify you can help you to mitigate that potential exposure and that potential risk. Finally, it's important that you develop an incident response plan. Prepare and practice your incident response plan, right? The plan should really outline the steps that you're going to take in the event of a ransomware attack. A well-coordinated response can mitigate the impact of an incident. It can also aid in faster recovery. And the sooner that your team can respond, the faster business gets back to normal. Hopefully these tips are helpful. SaaS ransomware, and really any type of ransomware, it's a significant cybersecurity concern. As you can see from some of the news we discussed today with that plastic surgery center, right? The best defense is really putting things into place ahead of time to do that, right? And if you need help putting together a plan, our team can help, right? That's what we do. That's what we love to do. We love to help people stay ahead of the cyber threats. I would much rather help a business prevent attacks and protect their data than have to come in and clean up the mess after the fact. So reach out to myself and my team if you'd have any questions on this. We'd love to help you out, put things into place for you. We'll put a link to schedule an appointment below. For our webinar later this month, right? We're going to be talking about, obviously, cybersecurity. No surprise there. In an era of technological advancements, the surge in cybercrime is undeniable, right? We've been talking about that today. Cybercriminals leverage automation and artificial intelligence to breach even the most robust security protocols. It's not a matter of if, but when your business is going to face some sort of threat. Shockingly, a computer is attacked every 39 seconds, with an average cost of $3.86 million per cyber attack and global costs that reached staggering $6 trillion with a T, $6 trillion in 2021, and it's gone up since then. Don't be part of the 77% of organizations without cybersecurity incident response plan. Join us on November 30th, 1 p.m. Pacific time. We're going to be discussing fortifying your business against escalating tide of cybercrime and why a resilient cybersecurity plan combining offensive and defensive methods really is crucial to thwart these type of cyber threats. Let's see if we have any comments from any of our live. I don't see any comments that have come through on the chat. So if any of you do have any questions, comments, if there's a topic you'd like for me to cover in the future, please direct message me, call our office, email the team, right? Go to our website, itnet.works. We'd love to, cover any topics that you have and answer any of your questions. Thanks for joining us today. I should say, with it being, Veterans Day being celebrated today, I'm grateful for those that have served our country. Both my grandfathers served. I have a brother-in-law that served. There's other extended members of the family, lots of friends that have served. Grateful for your service. Thank you for all that you've done and all your sacrifices to protect this great country and to give us the freedoms that we have. Hopefully everybody has a wonderful Veterans Day weekend, and we'll see you next week.